Okay, so I've created the tenant namespace user on HCP1, and we put some data on it via Data Migrator. And we've also created a tenant namespace and user on HCP2, and we set up a profile from Data Migrator to connect to that. Now we're going to set up replication between the two HCPs. So we did the System Management Console, and that, just to remind you, the information's up here, what screen you're in, because sometimes this can get confusing. You could be in a DIN and not in the System Management Console. So to go to Services, and then, okay, go to Services. Today, so I'm connecting to this over the internet, and my connection is first as we speak. Okay, so it's a Services Replication. So there are no links here currently, but we're going to create one, and we'll see it show up here in the list of the replication. Settings, I'm going to enable DNS failover. I'm going to allow tenants to monitor, and I have the replication verification service. So it's going to verify the replication, and then to update the settings, don't forget to do that because remember, this is just a web screen, so we have to update our settings. And then I'm going to go to certificates. Now we have to exchange certificates from HCP. So HCP1 has to have HC2's certificate. Right now it doesn't, and vice versa. HCP2 is going to have HCP1 certificate. So I'm going to download it. HCP1 right now, I'm going to download this certificate, save as, and save it in my documents directory. Okay, my connection is a little slow. Please bear with me. To call this certificate HCP1 certificate. So to have two of them here, let's give them some meaningful names. Okay, we're going to have to go over to the HCP2 and same thing over there. So let's go over there. Now see here, just a reminder, in the tenant management console right now. So if we went to services, we would still probably see replication, but it's not going to have what we're expecting here in setting up those settings. So to go back to the management console, we click on this button, back to System Management Console. Now go to Services here and Replication. And there are links here, so let's go to Settings, and let's set these guys off. And certificates. And I'm on HCP2, I'm going to download this, guys. So let's here download. Hope this doesn't ever save as. Good, thank you. And then we're going to go to HCP1. I'm sorry, it's HCP2. Okay, so now we're going to upload HCP2. So we're going to upload HCP1 certificate here. So we have to browse to it first, HCP1. So now it's highlighted here, and then we upload the certificate. And there it was done successfully. Okay, now we could create the link from here, but we have to go back and share the certificate on the other side. So let's go do that. We're at HCP2, and then we're going to upload that certificate, and done successfully. Okay, have the 2 certificate, HCP1 certificate, and on the other HCP, the same thing. Now we can go ahead and create our link. So let's do overview, and then we're going to go to create the link. So we can call this whatever we want. I'll call it link 1. Next. Now active means that I will write version on both HCPs. Okay, so you be a little careful with this. Applications that are using active to be able to have the data with unit be changed, right? So typically we would do an outbound, which the probably be read write, and then the secondary is read only. So let's do this outbound, and we can compress and encrypt data if we want. And I'm going to send the oldest object first. Now this is a little important, so you might be tempted to put IP address in here, but we really need to use host here, and I'll explain in a minute. So first, the destination, the remote, is HCP2, right, and .hdsnj.com. But that's a cluster name in the HCP, so that's not going to resolve. So we're going to have, it's wildcarded in the DNS, meaning anything I put before this resolve to this cluster. So I like to do just replication .ep2, right? Now, so we want to do the same thing here, because if we're not careful, sometimes it puts in an IP address here, and that's not good. So let's put this in here. We're going to do our local, we HCP1. Okay, so now the local is HCP1, is HCP2. So we don't want to use IP addresses. If we use just an IP address, it will replicate to only that node with that IP address. Now it says you can use a list of IP addresses, and you certainly could do that, but if you were to add multiple nodes to the cluster, you'd have to come back here and add those IP addresses. So it's just tempting. People put IP addresses in if the DNSs aren't set up yet or properly, but really we need to be careful here. So this is how we do it. We want to use host names. And click next. Oh, I guess I timed it out. Sorry about that. Get my certificate there. Let's see. My connection accept. Okay, yep, certificates over there. All right, so let's try this again. Let's create a link. Guess my phone is acting up here. Now here review, so everything looks good here. Like we have the remote is correct, the local is correct, and click finish. Look at sending data, but it's not. We haven't assigned it any content yet here, so we need to tell it what we wanted to actually replicate. Right now, let's see. Oops. Let's see if we're down a little bit. Okay, come on. So here's the tenant down here, way at the bottom that we saw that we created earlier, tenant 1. So we just highlight tenant 1 and say update link. Okay, now tenant 1 is updated. So we can dismiss this. Now, links is if we had many HCPs out there and we had one HCP replicating to another one, and vice versa, but we don't have that. The schedule, everything should be on replicate all the time, and then we can look at link information here. So one, here's some information about it, and we can fit over and we can manage it. But if we go back to status, we can set right, it just started, so there's really nothing for it to do. It's just kind of spinning it up. But we can go back and click on tenants, and if you put the map for this, you'll see that it'll give you some information about it. So we're still in the process of initializing. And then over here to the right, you'll see the replicating tenant right now. So it's going to take a little bit of time. I think it took us a couple minutes to upload the data migrator. So it's going to take a couple minutes for it to replicate over. And once it does, what you're able to do is once it goes to status and it says in replication, I suggest you go to go to migrator, and then you should be able to look at it and should be see data over on the other side. So let's take a look at it. So here I am, namespace 1, namespace 2. So once that starts replicating and pushing it over, you'll see these files coming over here. Right? So unfortunately, the first file was a gig, so that's going to take some time, and then we'll see the other ones populate. But quickly, that's how you set up a link between the two HCPs and verify that the data is going over there. I'll create a video when my connection gets better about failing back. Okay, thank you.